Competition will commence here in just over 15 minutes. If you're out on the course right now, we'll have tractors coming in momentarily, so please wrap up your walk and be aware of the time allowed. The distance from start line to finish line, 450 meters. Time allowed at a rate of 375 meters per minute is 72 seconds. Again, wrap up that walk. Here come the tractors. At the 5-minute mark before the top of the hour here, with tractors just about to make their final few passes in the arena, we'll take a few minutes to get you acquainted with the course designed by Bernardo Costa Cabral and Chris Barnard. They are the team bringing us our 2-star and 5-star features here this week. And of course, Ethel Chocolates, as you can see, sponsor of our Grand Prix Qualifier. The Grand Prix itself will be an FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier here in Ocala, and that'll be happening on Saturday night under the lights. And more than twice the prize money that we're offering here in the qualifier will be available in that World Cup class on a Saturday. Make sure you get those tickets while they last. That is the one event this week you need to have tickets to attend. So let's take a look first off at the course beginning over the Ethel M. Chocolates vertical, appropriately enough, as they are our sponsor of this feature today. All told, by the way, we've got 62 starters representing nations from around the world. In total, looks like we'll have 18 countries represented with those 62 entries. And nearly half of the class is among the top 100 ranked riders in the show jumping sport. So truly a top-notch competition and a truly international field joining us here today. Number one, the FLM Chocolates vertical begins the course with about 8 strides beyond that being the main and tail oxer heading directly toward our jury box here at number 2 before they make a turn back toward the hotel. And the first combination they will encounter today will be a 1-stride combination with orange and white rails at 3A and 3B, a vertical to oxer 1 stride. 5 strides closer to the hotel is a Liverpool vertical, solid blue rails making up the airy fill at the tsunami fence number 4. Then on the right-hand lead, we'll have fence number 5 approaching the in-gate over the Japanese fan oxer. That one's closer to the hotel there, the yellow rails. And around the lake they'll go, passing by the gate, coming away from home over a triple bar made up of our Florida Coast Equipment Wings, fence number 6. And obviously that'll be the widest fence on the course today. Following that, 5 strides to fence number 7. That's your World Equestrian Center vertical just in front of the hotel with the purple and white striped rails. They'll continue on the left lead as they come around the bend and jump the Longines FEI Jumping North American League vertical at number 8. Then it should be about 7 strides depending on the approach to the triple combination, which is an oxer vertical oxer 2-stride to 1 stride, and that uses the turquoise and white wings at 9A, 9B, and 9C. They'll approach the scoreboard end of the arena as they make a right-hand turn, rolling back to fence number 10. Solid orange narrow rails make up the fill at the Swan vertical there for number 10. And then they'll change leads, turning to the left. And 7 or 8 strides away will be the white lattice pillars with the cherry blossoms at number 11. 4 strides beyond that is fence number 12, and that is our Golden Garden Gate vertical, number 12. A steady 5 strides beyond that is the final fence heading directly toward the hotel over the Longines Timepiece Oxer, fence number 13. And of course, Longines, title sponsor of our feature event coming up here on Saturday evening. 62 starters. We will see 31 before we take a midway drag break. And then after the break, another 31 entries, and that'll be for round 1. Under the format we're using here today, every single rider shows in the first round. A tie for first place would denote the need for a jump off over a shortened course, and that one, of course, will be described once we get closer to the first horse in that tiebreaker, if it's necessary. And with a field like we've got today, as I mentioned, nearly half of the class in the top 100 world rankings, I have a great feeling that it will go into a jump-off tiebreaker. First one coming down the ramp, though, will be a rider for Austria by the name of Peter Petschenik, here with the 17-year-old gray Royal Dutch Warmblood mare by numero uno. He'll come to us on Enable Venet Postos, and he was a 4-star opening class winner last week during our middle week of the series here in Ocala. Today, joining us with his own entry, again, Enable Venet Postos to start things off. This will be number 362 coming through. 72 seconds our time allowed. Distance from start line to finish line is 450 meters, and that time allowed is figured at a rate of 375 meters per minute. Anyone who is new to the sport, just a quick primer for you. A four-fault penalty will be assessed for each and every fence height that is lowered. 4 faults will also be the score for the first refusal. Second refusals cause an elimination. And if they exceed the time allowed, we will be offering 1 fault for every commenced second over 72. Here we go with the top of the order. Peter Pechenik of Austria, again on Enable Venet Postus. All right, we had that late knockdown there as Peter Pechenik wrapped up in Enable Venet Postos, and that'll be a 4-fault finish in 70.92. As you can see, 72 seconds are time allowed appropriate for this course as they finish up in that reference time. 70.92, again coming at the expense of 1 knockdown. 4 faults will be the score. Canada rider in next will be Jacqueline Steffens Daly, and she'll be here on a 16-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blend gelding by Darko. Double C Stables and Jacqueline are the owners of this entry, who had 2-star qualifier Grand Prix ribbons a couple of weeks ago in Wellington, where she's been focused so far this season. Glad to have her now here in Ocala with Freaky, number 576. Yet again, it's a late knockdown penalty. A little quicker time for Jacqueline Steffens, Daly, and Freaky. They finish in 68.81, but carry 4 faults. And by the way, the time will be used to break ties for positions other than first place. Obviously, we're very early in this class, but for right now, they are tied for the top spot. If we have a score better than 4, Jackie will be the better of those 2 4-faulters. Top-ranked rider in the field this week at number 3 in the world. We have Ben Meyer for Great Britain joining us now, and he's here aboard Ginger Blue, number 578. Come to us here again representing Great Britain, as he's done in many a team event, from Olympic to World Games, and also Longines League of Nations events right here in Ocala. Ginger Blue is the mount. And the bell rings, starting the countdown clock then for the 15-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare by Plot Blue. Jane Clark Entry, who's recently had 2 4-star wins at the Winter Equestrian Festival on the opposite coast of Florida this season. Ginger Blue, Ben Meyer, number 578. First faultless finish here comes from Ben Meyer and Ginger Blue, leaving to the number 3 rider in the world to show the way to the penalty-free 70.58 time. And indeed, that means he'll take over the top spot early on. And those 4 falters will be divided by time, with Jacqueline Steffens, Daly, and Freaky going into second, and Annabelle Venedepostus and Peter Pechenig now in third. We have Brazil's Eduardo Pereira de Menezes next in, and he's got the tone and is headed to the start now with H5 Mesentus PS. 13-year-old Grey Hanoverian gelding by Messenger, owned by H5 Sport Horses. Eduardo's had steady ribbons on both coasts of Florida so far this season, from Wellington to Ocala, and he's been a trusted team rider for Pan Am, Olympic, Nations Cup final, and World Cup final outings. Time allowed 72 seconds. Eduardo makes it just within. H5 Macentas PS immediately matching the effort from Ginger Blue and Ben there. And that means a tie for first place. Also means we will go into a second round here. How many will make it to that round is the question. We're early on, so the chances are good that it will be a fairly larger number. But we'll see what happens now as yesterday's winner in the opening class of the 5-star, Vanessa Hood, joins us next. She's here representing Israel and didn't just have that victory on K&T Geronimo, but also was runner-up in the 2-phase with Klitschko. Klitschko 17, the 13-year-old Bay Hanoverian gelding by Christian, owned here by Take 2 LLC. .63. It's that fraction over the time allowed that adds 1 on the clock to the 16 jumping faults. So 17 is the total. Now it's Ireland's ride for Daniel Coyle. He's in next on Daydream. Daniel coming off of 3 wins in 4 starts at the Grand Prix level over the last 2 weeks. So he's coming back now as the world at number 9 based on his performance in recent months. But again, 3 of 4 victories in Grand Prix starts. They came aboard Urvilzee and Therrell in the last 2 outings. Daydream, Daniel's mount here today for owner Ariel Grange, is a 10-year-old bay mare by Finfin. Again, Daniel number 9 in the world here carrying the flag for Ireland. Yet again, a fault-free finish, and Daniel Coyle will put the others on notice as he is now qualified to come back in that jump off with Daydream, along with Ben Meyer and Eduardo Pereira de Menezes. Three nations represented among the top three who are tied for first. Now we'll see our U.S. rider Charlotte Murray here with Magnum Z. And she represents the USA on this 13-year-old bay Zangerside gelding by Messenger. Charlotte, the owner and rider. She had wins in Greenwich feature events at the two-star level and ribbons throughout North America over the last several years since her 2023 international debut. Again, it's Charlotte Murray, Magnum Z, our seventh to go. One on the clock added to the two knockdowns there. That'll be 9 faults total in 72.74 for Charlotte Murray and Magnum Z. Up to our 8th entry now, another Irish rider coming on the course. And this is Tom Walkman. He is currently at the 59th position of the world ranking and riding Do It Easy, number 381. This is one of his 9 winning mounts through last year's competition, and one of the biggest victories coming late in the season at the London National Grand Prix in December. Tom Walkman here with a 13-year-old Basel Francais gelding by Vigo Sissi, owned by Coolmore Show Jumping, entry number 381. Another short course opportunity presents itself now to Tom Walkman as he goes penalty free in 71.37, just a fraction inside the necessary time. And that's now 4 good to go rides, with Ireland being dominant 2 of the 4 qualifiers up to now. We have rider for Colombia in Mark Blumen in next with the 14-year-old bay gelding. This Mecklenburg mount by Ubico is Ubeluk, number 537. Daniel Blumen, along with Over the Top Stables LLC, co-owners of Ubeluk, and over the 2025-26 season, he has ridden to 13 wins internationally, 2 of them this season in Wellington. And some of those victories have come at prominent locations such as Toronto, Devon, Greenwich, Thermal, and is trying to get his name into the list as our 5th qualifier here in Ocala. 9B knockdown incurs the 4 faults. The 72.94 time brings one more on the clock. Just a fraction of a second required for that one-time fault. But 5 is the total for Mark and Ubeluk. Mexico's Carlos Hank Guerrero next on course. Here aboard H5 Chili Pepper Z. During his young rider team starts, all 3 appearances earned medals for Team Mexico. He's gone on to be a senior member of the Olympic squad in 2024. And Carlos has shown to victories from Switzerland to Belgium, Mexico, and the U.S. over the past season. Joining us here today aboard H5 Chili Pepper Z, the 10-year-old bay Zangerside gelding by Crunch, owned by H5 Sport Horses. (9B) will be one of the knockdown fences there. Also fence number 12. That's the Garden Gate vertical. So that means a total of 8 jumping. But they also finished 2 commence seconds over for 2 more on the clock. Now it's Belgium's Peter de Brabander here with first choice HT. The tone is sounded and his countdown is underway to approach the start on this 15-year-old grade Dutch gelding by Favorite ASK, owned by Martin Huggins. Peter has been a youth representative at the European Championships and has already this season with Dothraki Warlord been a speed winner during week 3 here at the World Equestrian Center. Two knockdowns, one time. It'll be 9 faults total there for Peter de Brabander and first choice HT. Ireland's Dylan Daly now about to come into the ring here with Cinderella Z. This is one of his winning mounts in recent competition here at Ocala. Runner-up actually in 3-star Grand Prix action back in December. And a 16-year-old bay Zangerside mare by Choco Blue, owned by Double C Stables. It's Dylan Daly, again number 586. The triple bar down, and we also have the 3 ticks over that 72-second time allowed. That'll be a 7-fall total with 4 on the course and 3 on the clock. Belgium's Nicolas Philipparts is another of our top-ranked riders in the sport, currently at number 15 on the list. Here aboard Gadget Mus, the 10-year-old Vaisselle Francais gelding by Andiamo Samayi, owned by Team Philipparts. Team rider in all of the big championships, from the World Games to the Olympic Games and beyond. He's also had 15 international wins to boost him to that top 15 ranking. That's in the past season. Gadget Mus and Nicolas Philipparts. Another faultless finish comes through as our rider for Belgium puts that flag on the board for a return opportunity. Gadget Mus and Nicolas Philipparts become part of the tie for first place. Another Brazil representative in next. It's Stephanie Macera and Novak de Calvary, number 534. And Novak de Calvary is a 13-year-old dark bay Belgian gelding by Kotoki, owned by Bon Chance Farm. Stephanie Macera, again, representing Brazil among her U.S. and European podiums in 2025. She had 2 wins in Belgium last fall. She's also been a part of the Nations Cup starts for her home country. Should be coming through in a moment here as the 14th to go. We will be taking a break to drag the ring after our 31st. So we're getting close to a quarter of the way through the field, and up to now, we've got 5 tied for first place. 5 entries that'll be coming back in the jump-off, including Ben Meyer, the Trailblazer, Daniel Coyle from Ireland, Tom Wachman, Mark Blumen, and Nicolas Philipparts. 5:34 should be coming down. We're getting word from the warm-up area that Stephanie Macera and Novak de Calvary are on the way. Bell rings, countdown begins, and it's now time to score the round for Stephanie Macera with Novak de Calvary. She's making the attempt to be our second rider from Brazil to make it to the good list. 71.93 kept them just inside the time allowed, but it was fence number 12 that would give the penalties here. Stephanie with 4 faults and 8th place right now aboard Novak de Calvary. Shane Sweetenham now in with his 4-year partner, debuting together in 2022 in the international ranks. And throughout that time, he's piloted James Conn Cruz to 9 victories from World Cup to Nations Cup classes around the globe. Here is the 13-year-old Gray Irish Sport Horse gelding by Keenan, owned by Gizmo Partners LLC and Shane Sweetenham. And he comes into the week at the world number 11 for Ireland. Shane's trusted partner comes through again, carrying him in as the 3rd rider for Ireland to get onto that good list. He'll take James Conn Cruz into the tiebreaker later on, and now we have a total of 6 tied for first. One of our top U.S. riders, currently at number 12 in the world. We have Laura Kraut in next. She's here with Dorado 212, number 203. She's been quite valuable with gold medals at the Pan Am World Game and Olympic Games in many an outing for Team USA, but she's also been dynamic as an individual. She rides the 13-year-old Bay Oldenburg gelding by Diorado's boy. This is Dorado 212, owned by St. Bride's Farm. And again, Laura Kraut. And there she shows that dynamic ability. Dorado 212, a winning mount last year's Longines League of Nations, coming to us to carry her through to a jump-off opportunity today. So we have the USA now on the board for a return, and we'll see whether another for Ireland can get through, as Cian O'Connor, the world number 22 for Ireland, is in next on Kentucky TN. Kentucky TN is an 11-year-old Bay Stallion, a Royal Dutch Warm Blood by Verdi TN, owned by Carlswood Partners, again number 374. Busy riders staying in the ribbons throughout their starts in 2026. Many a podium to the credit of Kian O'Connor. And the Kentucky TN has been one of those ribbon winners this season. Again, Kian O'Connor is number 22 on that world list. Ireland rider number 374 is next. That'll be another clear. We are on a hot streak right now as Kian O'Connor gets through as well with Kentucky TN. We'll be seeing him back in the tiebreaker as well. So yet another for Ireland gets through. That's 4 total for Ireland and 8 total on that good list. For the USA, another of our riders inside of the top 100 in the world is Spencer Smith. Here he is with Queen Hertha. This one's carried him to many a ribbon so far this season as he's concentrated his efforts on the Wellington Tour. Queen Hertha is an 11-year-old bay Holsteiner mare by Bayou Bay de Rouet and co-owned by Ashland Farms, Stormridge Capital, and Don Stewart. For the score, we had the triple combination knockdown there at the B element, 71.10 with 4 faults. Spencer Smith's score with Queen Hertha. Our rider for France at the world at number 8 position is Nina Maleve, and she's in with 13-year-old babe Belgian mare by Emerald. This is the Rain Family LLC and Tara Dowrain's Nika van den Bische. Former Olympic mount for Aaron Ballard, who's also carried Nina to the European Championship start last season. She joins us here again as the world number 8 for France. 2 time faults added to the 3 knockdowns. That's a total of 14 faults. 14 the total for Nina and Nika van den Bishop. Continuing along through this first half of the class, and at this point we've got about 12 more before we'll take a midway break. And Mimi Gotchman of the USA coming up next. Iron Maiden is the entry, owned by Rocking Basilisk Farm LLC. There's the bell for the 11-year-old Grey Zangerside gelding by Clarimo. And again, USA's Mimi Gotchman, just outside of the top 100 of the current ranking, again with Iron Maiden. Number 4, the knockdown fence. It's 4 faults for Mimi at Iron Maiden in 71.13. Again, 4 faults, that score. Again, we're carrying 8 so far in the clear list. Next rider is Jacob Pope on Highway FBH, another for the home country of the U.S., number 550. And this was a winning mount for Jacob. Nations Cup competition that happened last season in Traverse City also took him to his first international Grand Prix victory back in 2025. And he joins us today again on Highway FBH, the 14-year-old Dark Bay Royal Dutch Warmblood Stallion by Plot Blue. Co-owner Jacob Pope and Sherry Crawford make us Highway FBH. Good go there for Jacob Pope. He'll come through in 71.25 and penalty free to add a 9th name to the jump-off qualified list. And again, at this point, we've got 10 more in round 1 before that midway break. We'll take a drag break after our 31st entry. Lillie Keenan comes to us on Emerlon, number 545, another rider for the U.S. She's been 9 times at the head of the victory lap over the course of the past season. She's already had some wins in Wellington this year on Chagrin d'Amour and Faster. It's Emerlon on course right now, and this is a 9-year-old bay Oldenburg gelding by Emerald, owned by Shensenet Farm. Lillie Keenan comes to us as the current number 29 rider in the sport. The Liverpool vertical striking again for a 4-fault penalty and a 69.90 time there for Lillie Keenan once again with Emerlon. That's the second fastest of the fours at this point in 11th place. Here's Katie Dinan also for the USA up on out of the blue SCF, number 541. Out of the blue SCF is 12 years of age, owned by Grand Road Partners LLC. This is a Belgian mare by Verdi TN. Out of the blue SCF, 541 the number. It was just that early rail also for Katie Dinan that kept her out of contention, but out of the blue SCF 4 faults and a 71.76 time is where she'll finish up on that entry. 4 faults and 71.76. Currently ranked number 6 on that list of world riders. We have Richie Vogel and Conquality in now, number 284. 2025 reigning European champion and the team bronze medalist from last year's Continental Games there. Richie Vogel again for Germany up on Conquality, the 10-year-old Bay Holsteiner gelding by Chin Champ, owned by Adrian Schmidt. And Richie proves himself worthy of the return with Conquality, another short course opportunity coming up. And that'll be our 10th to qualify for the return. Brooke Kemper has been a winner with us here in national classes in the past several weeks. She joins us here today aboard Arpeggi for the Arpeggi group, number 141. And she'll be in just a moment as a rider for the U.S. on that 16-year-old Westphalian gelding by Arpeggio, again owned by the Arpeggi group. A couple of weeks back, she was a top 3 finisher in the international ranks for our 4-star Grand Prix qualifier and has had several other ribbons throughout her Ocala starts this season. Again, Arpeggi, Brooke Kemper of the USA bring us to the first of 7 spots left before that midway drag break. Arpeggi making it through most of the course before rails come down at 10, 11, and 12. And that'll be a 12-fall total in 69.80. Early on, we saw Ben Maher show the way to our first clear in the class with Ginger Blue. He's back to try to do it again, this time on Nighthawk, number 579. He'll be joining us again, representing Great Britain and as the world number 3 rider. His entry owned by Jane Clark is a 10-year-old Belgian gelding by Staccato Gold. Several podiums to the credit of this horse and rider combination already in the Wellington Tour, the Winter Equestrian Festival. Some of their recent starts just a week ago took them to the runner-up placing in 4-star action there in Wellington. Ben Maher hoping to be the first of our riders to go 2 for 2, qualifying for that jump-off. 72.60 Ben Meyer's time with Nighthawk, and with the early rail and the late finish, they'll wrap up on a total of 5 in 72.60. Fiorinati will be back in that jump off with the earlier Ginger Blue, which again was the first to go penalty free. And of course, next up will be our winning rider out of yesterday's 5-star speed event. For Canada, we welcome the number 38 rider in the Longines rankings, Erin Ballard, and her game ball BG. She's also had victories coast to coast in Florida this winter season, and has also been a Pan Am, Olympic, and World Games rider for Canada. 23 victories in total over the course of the past year. Make that 24 with yesterday's speed win on the 14-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare by Kerenbol, owned by Mary Frances Look. .72.55 the time, so that's a fraction over. Add the 8 jumping to 1 on the clock there. 9 is the total. So Erin will exit the arena for now, but we'll be back later on Epsilon de Breno, so we're possibly going to see her again with a chance to advance. But next is Mexico's Tanamara Macari here with Dax 68, number 496. Tanamara represented Mexico in the North American Championships as a youth, and has since gone on to be a winner in the international ranks in Brussels, Belgium, and other European podiums in 2025. She's here with Dax 68, and this is a 10-year-old Chestnut Holsteiner gelding by Dinkin, owned by Jorge Macari. Well, that early obstacle number 4 has been a bogey a few times today, having come down again for Tanamara Macari here with Dax 68. She'll add that 4 to a single time fault, 72.76, and she'll wrap up on 5. Bell is rung now for our first of 3 remaining rides before the Midway drag break. It's Germany's Rupert Karl Winkelmann here aboard Imoto, number 491. 13-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Quasimodo Z, and a Heinrich Winkelmann entry. winner in Slovakia, Belgium, Tryon, Ocala here in the U.S. as well. And they've already been a runner-up in week 3, three-star Grand Prix action. And that'll be penalties late in the course there. B of the triple combination and number 11, the culprits in the 8-fault total there, 70.95. Among our 2 left, we have one for the U.S. and one for Ireland, with Lucy Davis-Kennedy in next on Ben 431. Lucy, 3 times a medalist at youth championships here in North America, has since been a part of Olympic, World Games, and Longines League of Nations finals teams. She's also been to the World Cup finals on 3 occasions, represented the USA. As her bell rings, she's here aboard the 15-year-old Bay Westphalian gelding by Sylvain, owned by the Old Oak Group, Ben 431, first of 2 before the break. Well, they'll carry 4 faults to the finish line there in 68.25. Ben 431 and Lucy Davis-Kennedy will take the quickest of the 4 fault positions at 11th place right now. And we'll have one more rider for Ireland before we take that midway break. That'll be Jordan Coyle, the world number 33, here with for gold, number 584. For gold, a 15-year-old Bay Holsteiner gelding by For Fashion, owned by Falkirk Farm LLC, and 20 wins in both team and individual events last season. In most cases have contributed to his current ranking at number 33. Jordan Coyle for Ireland, bringing us to the midway point. Dropping the heights of 7 and 9B means a score of 8. And a time of 69.73 for Jordan Coyle and for gold. And that's, again, going to bring us to midway point now. Let's take a look back at those who have made it into the jump off so far. They started off with the rider for Great Britain, Ben Meyer, with Ginger Blue. He was the first one, penalty free. Thereafter, Brazil's Eduardo Pereira de Menezes and H5 Mesences PS joined the list. Daniel Coyle with Daydream and Tom Walkman with Do It Easy added 2 more names for Team Ireland. And down the list, we also saw Belgium's Nicola Philipparts with Gazette Moose. We've also seen Shane Sweetenham with James Can Cruz for Ireland. The USA's Laura Kraut with the Dorado 212. Ireland's Cian O'Connor with Kentucky TN. And later on there, Jacob Pope for the U.S. on Highway FBH, followed by Germany's Richard Vogel with Con Quality. Give us a total of 10 so far at the midway point here in our 5-star qualifier. And again, we are bringing you this competition compliments of the efforts from Ethel M Chocolates. And great way to celebrate Valentine's Day. Maybe a little something special from Ethel M Chocolates, one of the great sweet treats that is featured in Miss Tilly's right here on the plaza. If you want to do some shopping during any of our breaks, including right now while our tractors and water trucks are coming in to freshen things up before we continue on to the second half of the class, be aware that we have had a couple of scratches in the 38th, the 41st, and 60th positions of the order. So coming up after the break, we'll have about 29 entries remaining here in our 5-star qualifier. Just under 10 minutes until we resume action here in this Thursday main event. Just about to raise that gate as we continue on to the second half of the class with, again, 10 right now qualified for the jump off and more opportunities about to present themselves. Colombia's Mark Blumen is just about to come through, and he's already shown his first ride, Überlook. His second ride, perhaps the one that will get him through to be the 11th jump-off entry. And this is a mount that he picked up in the spring of 2024. In each of the last 2 seasons, he's had 5-star wins on Canada and California stops on the Major League Tour. Conquer PS, number 538. 53rd in the ranking of the world here. It's Conquer PS with, again, Mark Blumen representing Colombia. This is a 12-year-old bay Oldenburg mare by Confargos, a Norma Leticia Coelho Garrido entry, along with Over the Top Stables and Israel Blumen. And this is our 32nd to go. 538 the number. One on the clock added to the 4 jumping for the knockdown at fence number 10. That's one vertical dropping, and that's 5 total in 72.34. Well, McLain Ward comes to us as one of the most recognizable faces in American show jumping. He's currently 10th on the ranking list, and here aboard Jordan Mulga M, number 217. About 24 wins over the course of the past year for McLain Ward. He's been a big name on the teams for the U.S. and won individual classes around the world. His mount today is the 12-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Etulon, Jordan Mulga M, owned by Michael Smith. Well, if it hadn't been for the time here, we'd see McLain Ward on the qualified list. Unfortunately, there is bad news on that clock. 2 time faults in a 73.09 effort. 2 time faults. Well, the most consistent country to be represented on the qualified list here so far has been Ireland, and Francis Derwin will represent the green, white, and gold of his home country now with Flexi K. This is number 136, a 13-year-old chestnut Irish sport horse gelding by Flexibil. Francis Derwin, the owner and rider. 34th to go. Two knockdown effort there for Francis Derwin. Flexi K will wrap up on 8 faults in 70.67. Another rider for the USA, Kama Godek, is in next. She's here aboard Sharissa, the 15-year-old gray Holsteiner mare by Clerimo. And she has been a winner earlier this season here in Ocala. She has also been competing not just in the show jumping sport, but has been top 4 in recent Prix St. George dressage action a few weeks back. Sharissa, Kama Godek on course next. Give credit to the rider, Kama Godek, here with Sharissa. 70.37 takes her to the top of the list. Now an 11-way tie exists for first place, and Kama will be our most recent qualifier for the jump-off. So far, 5 nations are represented just after the midway point in round 1 of our 5-star qualifier. We've got Jamie winning Kermit, hoping to add a 6th nation to that list with Australia, as she's here aboard Tolara Wat Koblenski. Ocala and Wellington ribbons so far to the credit of our rider, Jamie winning Kermit, again for Australia, here aboard Tolara Wat Koblenski. She was a recent top 4 last week in Wellington in a 4-star Grand Prix on this 12-year-old gray mare by Coleman. Entry owned by Rachel Peel, number 104.
Oh, the rider? Oh, yeah, it's right. You have pencil?
Just the time faults here for JB and Teloravad Koblenski as they finish a fraction over in 72.68. So that's one on the clock. That will put them above the four falters and the two time fault effort that we just saw from McLain Ward a few rounds back. So she goes into 12th place. Now for Great Britain, it's Jake Ward here on Dory 66 coming in next, number 581. Jake Ward, the owner and rider of Dory 66, an 11-year-old. They Rheinlander mare by Darshan. 581 is the number. With a knockdown and a tick over the time, it's a 5-fault finish there and 72.97 for Jake Ward in Dory 66. 38th on the order is a scratch here today, so we'll move along to the 39th, Playboy JTZ, and one of our recent speed winners on 2 occasions, Charlotte Jacobs for the ride. Victories twice in those speed events with both Thomas Court Patrick and Rinkula Milchan over the last couple of weeks here. But today, Charlotte for the USA and the current number 90 in the world ranking is here on the 11-year-old bay Zangerside gelding by Presley Boy, one of her North Star mounts, Playboy JTZ, number 388. 12 faults the total there, and a time of 71.43 for Charlotte and Playboy JTZ. Well, Belgian rider Nicolas Philippart has the opportunity to be our first multiple qualifier now. Already good to go on Gadget Bush and coming back on H&M K Sarah. So the countdown in progress here again for the number 15 world rider, Nicolas Philipparts of Belgium on the 10-year-old bay Belgian mare by Seradik. This is H&M K Sarah, owned by Stuteriarch. And again, he's trying to be the first rider on this list with 2 qualified entries. That'll be a 4-fall penalty for Nicolas with H&M K Sarah. He does have the earlier qualifier, but on this one, 68.71 will be that 4-fall time. Scratching the 41st on the list and moving on then to the 42nd, Clyde VA and the U.S. rider Maggie Jacobs now. This is a 17-year-old Dark Bay Holsteiner stallion by Caratino, owned by Pony Up Sport Horses Limited. Our rider, Maggie Jacobs, team bronze medalist at the 2023 and 2024 North American Young Rider Championships. And she's had regular ribbons in Wellington and Ocala in the international ranks, including recent under-25 team ribbon in Wellington here aboard Clyde VA. Well, we've got 73.24 on the clock there. That's 2 on the clock along with 16 jumping vaults. So 18 is the total. Canada's Carly Campbell-Cooper is next to show, part of their Nations Cup outings and recent events. And she's here today on the 11-year-old Grey Oldenburg gelding by Ballieu du Rouet. This will be Baratino PS, owned by Ashlyn Crowley and John Jameson. Again, a rider for Canada, entry number 106. She'll be coming through the arch here momentarily. She's one of our regulars in Ocala ribbons here in the international ranks, but over the course of the past season, she was also in the awards in Caledon, Ontario, Spruce Meadows, Thunderbird, and others. And again, it's Carly Campbell-Cooper, Baratito PS. Well, that'll be our first rider for Canada to get through. Carly Campbell-Cooper carrying Baratino PS onto that list with no faults and 70 and change. So now we have a total of 12 good to go. 45 have shown, are at the 45th position of the order in any event, and we should have 16 more before the jump-off adjustment will commence. We've got Lillie Keenan receiving the signal to advance to the start now on 9-year-old Chestnut Stallion by Candy de Nantuel, owned by Chansonet Farm LLC. This is her second mount, a Chagrin d'Amour, number 547. Looks like the second one will be the good one here for Lillie Keenan, one of her winners already this season in Wellington, the chance to do it again here in Ocala. Chagrin d'Amour, and the world number 29 rider will get through. Can we make it 3 in a row is a question Aaron Vail hopes to answer in the affirmative. He is right now at number 28 on the world list, and will come to pilot Carissimo 25 next. Erin's been busy on both coasts of the continental United States this season, fresh back from Thermal, California last week, and a regular showing into the ribbons here in Ocala with many a win to his credit. Among those winners, Carissimo 25, the 13-year-old chestnut Holsteiner gelding by Cascadello, owned by the Carissimo Group. Rider for the USA, of course, was a part of several of the team stops last season, Melongian League of Nations and Nations Cup tours, including the victorious effort right here in Ocala. Late rail there for Erin at fence number 11, and that'll be a penalty of 4, time 70.77 on Carissimo 25. Canada rider next in the ring here is Sarah Lottis. She's here aboard Itulan S, number 338. Kevin Lottis entry, the 13-year-old Bay Royal Le Blood gelding by Itulan is again Itulan S, a 5-star ribbon winner at Spruce Meadow in June and July of last season. Sarah Lottis, one of our clears in the speed opener here at the 5-star level yesterday. Knockdowns at 4 locations add up for 16. Faults add 2 more for the time penalties there, and that's a total of 18. Currently at the number 8 ranking in the world list, Nina Melieve represents France and is here with My Clementine next, number 306. She should be making her way down the ramp momentarily. Nina Melieve again for France, here with My Clementine, the 11-year-old chestnut Irish sport horse mare by Obos Quality. She had 19 victories over the past season in the Speed and Challenge Cup, as well as other feature events across Europe and North America. My Clementine was her Holiday at Horses qualifying Grand Prix winner last season in the fall of 2025 in Wellington. We should see her coming through the gate momentarily again. Currently the world number 8 rider, Nina Malieve. This was also her top 3 finisher yesterday in the 5-star speed. My Clementine, Nina Malieve, the gate going up, and our next rider coming in. Thirteen total rides so far have made it into contention here, and we still need to see one for France. Nina is going to attempt to be the first. Well, prior to this, it was 7 nations, now 8 on that list. 14 total riders representing those flags, and Nina Malieve will be back with My Clementine. Take a look at the clock, and you'll also see a very quick qualifying time. That could be an indication of her potential in that jump-off round. We'll have to find out. Next to go is Cian O'Connor, hoping to add another Irish name to the list. He's 22nd in the world right now and will pilot Cambella Blue PS. It's a 12-year-old at Dargbay Hanoverian mare by Cantular, and Carlswood Partners entry with Cian O'Connor up. The 9 seed knocked down in the 72-74 time combined for a total of 5 faults for Keenan and Campbell Plus PS. Keenan does have the earlier clear on Kentucky TN, so we will be seeing him again here when we get to that jump off round. And next up is yesterday's speed runner-up Hunter Holloway. In that effort, she was aboard Pepita Conspita. Now she's here on Henry Jota Ariel, number 442. And Henry Jota Ariel, when they come through, will be an 11-year-old gray mare by Piccadilly Tem, owned by Hayes Investment Corporation. Rider for the USA. Was the top-ranked American rider back in 2023 with Pepita Conspita in the World Cup Finals. Been a runner-up in Grand Prix action here at World Equestrian Center this season. Hoping to have a chance to come back and do one better in today's qualifying class. Again, Hunter Holloway aboard Henry Jota Ariel. Two rails down there, it's 8 faults and 68.98 for Hunter and Henry Jota Ariel, 68.98 with 8 faults. Got an Erin Ballard ride coming up now. She's aboard Epsilon de Brenil, number 575, a 12-year-old Basel Francais gelding by Ernest, owned by Andrew Lopez. This is a mount that has already carried her to victory earlier this season in Wellington 3-star action, along with some other ribbons in the early parts of the 2026 tour. Again, Erin Ballard representing Canada and joining us as the current world number 38. Count Canada's rider in here, Erin Ballard, as she goes through with no faults at all and just a fraction inside the time on Epsilon de Brenil. And of course, she did make it to the top of the list in the speed round yesterday. Now on a different mount, we'll have a chance to go in the short course in our second major five-star event. For Germany, we have Andrea Thiem coming up next on DSP Chakaria, number 592. 51st to go. We should have 10 more after this. Again, our rider for Germany who's been to the Olympic World Championships, the Nations Cup finals, and also part of the winning team in the Longines League of Nations finals back in 2024. Again, it is Andre Thiem, DSP Chakaria, the 16-year-old Chestnut Brandenburg mare, owned by Fair Management and Marketing. Early knockdown, late finish, and 5 faults will be the total score here for Andre Thiem with DSP Chakaria in 72.14. Once again, Ireland takes up 4 spots on the list of qualifiers up to now. Daniel Coyle so far with not an opportunity to be a part. Actually, he does have that opportunity, excuse me, on Daydream earlier. So here he is again. And he'll return this time on Incredible, the 13-year-old Ray Royal Twin yelling by Clinton. And Ariel Grange and Daniel Coyle co-owned entry, again 528. Well, 70.19 the time. That'll be a 4-fault penalty. Yet again at the early combination. 4 faults and 70.19 for Daniel Coyle and Incredible. Again, he's good to go on the earlier entry, Daydream, so we'll see him back. Continuing on to Kirby Venet Rudersov. We'll have Felipe Amaral next for Brazil. And this is entry number 366, a 10-year-old Belgian mare by Cassander Venet Rusaker. In a Nations Cup ride for Felipe Amaral in 2025 and their stop in Spain. Also been a ribbon winner individually in several other events over the last couple of years internationally. Felipe, again, number 366 on Kirby Venet Rudersov. 12 the score, 3 knockdowns at 4 faults apiece and 71 points, 9-2. Second ride coming up now for McLain Ward. He returns with Lestro van de Valkenborg, number 220 now. Lestro van de Valkenborg again for McLain Ward. The ETC Custodian entry, Marta Maddox entry. This is a 10-year-old bay, Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Staccato Gold. And for the USA, McLain Ward appears as the current number 10 world rider. Good to go for McLain and Lestro van de Valkenborg, so he will be a part of the jump-off qualified group now. Should be a total of 15 up to this point. We're working our way toward the end of the line. Should have about 7 more to show. And Elena Haas coming up next for the U.S. on the 14-year-old Chestnut Westphalian gelding by Captain Jack. She'll be here on Cloud. Elena Haas, the owner and rider, 593. 72-77 is just over the time allowed. That fraction makes the difference for 1 on the clock, plus the 8 jumping, or 9 total. We got Jordan Coyle hoping to capitalize on his second opportunity to get through to the jump off here with Chacolino for Ireland, the 15-year-old bay gelding by Chaco Blue, owned by Jordan along with the Lawn Farm. First of 6 remaining before we'll take time to adjust for our round 2 tiebreaker. .71.86 the time, just inside the 72 allow, but it will be a 2 knockdown penalty of 8 faults. And now Laura Kraut comes to us. She was our first U.S. rider to get into the jump off today with Dorado 212, and will return to try to do it again on Très Bien Z, number 204. Top-ranked lady rider for the USA at number 12 on the list. And Laura Kraut is here with the 11-year-old bay Zangerside gelding by Toulon, owned by St. Bride's Farm, trying to be a multiple qualifier with Très Bien Z. Well, there's only one rider who got through with more than one entry, and that is U.S. rider Laura Kraut. Très Bien Z joins the list now. 17 total entries are good to go. 2 of those shown by one of America's bests. And we're down to a remaining 5 before we'll adjust for the jump off. Ecuador's Ana Cristina Gansauer coming up now on Loyalton, number 171. Again, in the home stretch here before we make the change over to the short course today. Rider for Ecuador, again, it's Ana Cristina Gansauer, and her 10-year-old bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Karembol is Loyalton, co-owned by Anna along with Candor Farm, number 171. $16 total, so 16 jumping that is, along with 2 on the clock there, so 18 is the total score for Loyalton and Ana Cristina Gansauer. Belgium's Peter de Brabander next in with his speed winner from a few weeks back here at WEC Ocala. It's Dothraki Warlord on course, number 161. And this is that 14-year-old bay Irish sport horse gelding by Mermis R. Martin Huggins, the owner. Again, Peter de Brabander is up for the ride. First of 3 left. Eight for the knockdowns. The time is 68.97 for Peter de Brabander and Dothraki Warlord, an 8-fault finish. We've had a scratch in the 60th spot, so we've got 2 more to go, 2 lefts, and Australia so far not on the good list. That is unless Hillary Scott can carry through with Oaks Milky Way. So she'll give it a go here on one of our veterans of the ring here at 19 years of age, the gray Australian warm blood mare by Clearway, Oaks Milky Way, owned by Alice Cameron. She's been a rider at the World Championship and Olympic Games in 2022 and 2024 on behalf of Australia, and has stayed steadily in the ribbons over the past season, coast to coast here in the U.S., including in Ocala, as well as a few stops in Europe. Now, she was Australia's only hope and did come through with a clear on Oaks Milky Way. That'll be Hillary Scott good to go, and that should be a total of 18 rides now, and one more opportunity will go out, and that goes to Spain's Sergio Alvarez Moya with B Blue, number 354. This is a 9-year-old Chestnut Oldenburg mare by Bransal, the Alvarez Moya horses, and Jose Manuel Bango Alvarez entry. 354, last to go in round one. The top contestant out of last year's 3-star Grand Prix action in December in Oliva, Spain, among several other ribbons throughout their starts internationally together. Again, for Spain, Sergio Alvarez Moya will wrap us up in the first trip. Number 4 comes down, and that's certainly one of the more prominent obstacles in the four-fault column here today. Sergio Alvarez Moya and B Blue finishing up in 69.67, and that'll be a 4-fault result. We'll wrap things up in the first round with 18 total qualifiers. Riders for Great Britain, Brazil, Ireland, Belgium, the USA, Germany, Canada, France, and Australia. In total, there are 9 countries that will be represented in that jump-off, and 18 total entries. The most prominent country, as the odds may depict, would be the USA, with 6 on that good list right now. And of course, the only multiple rider to make it through to the jump off, Laura Kraut, is among them. But if you look up at the board there, you can see the riders who will vie for the title here today. They started off there early on with Dunmire and Ginger Blue, and following suit, we had a slew of others that would match as clear. They're tied for first. They'll be coming back to break that tie in round 2. Shortened course coming up. We'll need to take some time to adjust, and then we'll get back with you on that jump-off course, brought to us by Ethel M. Chocolates, a division of Mars Equestrian, and their sponsorship by Mars Incorporated is the link between our iconic brands and the equestrian community. For generations, Mars has celebrated a rich equestrian heritage, and through purposeful partnerships, Mars Equestrian is committed to the sport, the heritage, and building an enduring legacy. From world-class competitions across all equestrian disciplines to stewarding the power of horses in society and sustainability, Mars Equestrian is dedicated to improving the lives of horses, pets, and the people who love them. Check out their website, marsequestrian.com, and their social media at Mars Equestrian. Along with them, we thank many other sponsors as we go into round 2. Fast-paced action coming up after the break. Countdown is in progress to work our way into the first horse for jump-off action. About a half of a minute before we'll see one of our 17 starters in the jump-off. And, of course, 18 entries did make it to the short course, but Laura Kraut is choosing to only compete on one of her two. She will not join us on Dorado 212. She will come back later in the order on Très Bien Z. So it's actually going to be 17 rides competing in our second round of this welcome class here on our World Cup week in Ocala. Fence number 15, the pink Peacock Oxer on the outside line will be the first fence headed toward the hotel. Then a right turn and away from the hotel over the Ethel M. Chocolates vertical number 1. Continuing on the right lead there to approach the mane and tail Oxer number 2. A left-hand turn back across the orange and white combination, 3A and 3B. And then they're going to cut sharp and make the distance as tight as possible as they approach 9C, which is all that remains from the original triple combination. Should be about 10 strides there, but it's really going to come down to their decision on the approach. They'll continue on the right lead, circling around to jump number 10. That'll be a roll back to that vertical, the swan fence with the orange rails, and then they'll make a left turn. Should be about 11 strides before they reach fence number 12. A gallop on down to the Golden Garden Gate vertical to finish out the jump-off course here today. The time allowed is 49 seconds. 17 entries will compete in round 2. The trailblazing rider was here for Great Britain, world number 3. In fact, the best in the field for the 5-star this week. We have Ben Meyer showing the way here on Ginger Blue. Chasing the winner's share of $117,000. He'll have to go quick and clear to give himself the best shot. Once again, 18 riders made it. One rider, the only multiple qualifier, Lara Kraut, deciding not to come back on her early entry, so she will be coming back late in the field there with Très Bien Z. 17 will jump off. Finish line arrives in 37.63, and as we've come to expect from Ben Meyer of Great Britain, he was very efficient all the way through with Ginger Blue. He's been a winner on that one several times already this season. He sets the standard at 37.63, and while he does so, you may want to keep your eyes on the clock on the split time after fence 3B. We have an 18.77 time at this point. The differential between Ben's time and our next challenger will arrive on the clock once they've passed that mark after 3B. But right now, Eduardo Pereira de Menezes out of Brazil will join us on H5 Mecentes PS. Second to go, number 368. Well, a steadier pace along with the knockdowns and combined there for 8 faults, 41.16 for Eduardo and H5 Macentis PS. Again, an 8-fault finish. Ben Meyer stays on top for now. Daniel Coyle will come to us on Daydream, again representing Ireland. It's the number 9 rider in the world. Here aboard the Ariel Grange entry, number 349. Again, he's trying to beat 37.63, and to give himself the best chance, he should be quicker than 18.77 on the landing side of 3B. Keep your eyes on the clock. As you saw there, the differential appearing in the upper left corner of your screen at that point. Well, the 37.51 quicker time will come at the expense of a rail at 3A. They were quicker at the split, but 4 faults at the finish line puts them down into second place. Tom Walkman also for Ireland, next in the order here. He's aboard Do It Easy, and this is entry number 381, his Grand Prix winner at last year's London International in December. That'll be a 38.93 finish time for Tom Walkman and Do It Easy, and a 4-fault penalty, putting them down into third place. Of course, we're very early on in this jump-off round, but Ben Meyer and Ginger Blue still the only double clears, and if they can stay on top, they've got potential of a wire-to-wire win in today's feature class, but there's still plenty to go. Nicola Philipparts is next on Gadget Moosh. Gadget Moosh, again, the ride for Belgium's number 15 ranked rider, again, Nicola Philipparts. And that'll be another quicker effort. In fact, an identical time to Daniel Coyle's with Daydream. Nicola Philipparts and Gadget Mouche post a 37:51 effort there. And theirs will be a 4-fault effort as well, 37:51. And actually is an 8-fault effort with 2 knockdowns in that time. So next to go is Shane Sweetnam, and he rides on behalf of Ireland, currently ranked 11th in the world. Here aboard James Conn Cruz, number 588 for Gizmo Partners and Shane Sweetnam. Well, it'll be about a second and a half back from the leader, but a second clear nonetheless, and that'll be Shane Sweetnam and James Conn Cruz going into the second position with a 39.13 time. Again, no faults at all. That's just the second to do it here in the jump-off. As reported earlier on our 7th qualifier for the jump-off, Laura Kraut will not come back on Dorado 212, though she will come back on her later Très Bien Z. So we'll move past her in the order and on to Kean O'Connor with Kentucky TN next to show here, and he'll be another rider for Ireland up on the Carlswood Partners entry, number 374. As we approach the midway point through this jump-off round, we've still got Ben Meyer and Ginger Blue in the lead in 37.63. Back rail dropping off of 3B as they come down at the combination there, and that means 4 faults in a 42.37 time. Right now, Kean will go into 5th place, 42.37 with Ford. We'll mark midway through this class in the jump-off round with USA's Jacob Pope and Highway FBH coming in next. This is number 550 and our first American rider to compete in the short course. Standings on the board, as you can see, with only 2 clears. Great Britain's Ben Meyer ahead of the pack. Ireland's Shane Sweetnam right now in 2nd place. Well, that 9C knockdown bringing a 4-fall penalty to the finish line for Jacob Pope and Highway FBH. That's 41.82 with 4 faults. And we've seen 9 of the 18 original qualifiers. And Jacob Pope will exit here at the midway point. Germany's Richard Vogel, who's currently at the number 6 spot on the world ranking, is here with Conquality next, number 284. Split time still in effect there from our original jump off. Ben Meyer and Ginger Blue had 18.77 seconds as they crossed through the split timers on the backside of fence 3B. And so far, at the halfway point in the jump off, they've gone uncatchable. We had 3 knockdowns in the round there for Richard Vogel and Conquality, so that's a 12-fault finish and a 41.78 time. And we hold still with just 2 clears as Kama Godek is in next. A U.S. rider up on her own, Sharissa, number 352. Well, knockdowns and trouble at the double there in Curray. 12 jumping, fault 14 time fault score in the jump off here in 62.56. And now she'll pass the torch to Carly Campbell Cooper for Canada aboard Baratino PS, our 12th of 18 qualifiers for the short course. Great Britain and Ben Meyer in the lead here with Ginger Blue's time, 37.63. Ireland's Shane Sweetnam with James Conn Cruz in second in 39.13. The quickest time we've seen, 37.51, came with a 4-fall penalty, and that's going to put Daniel Coyle for Ireland aboard Daydream right now in 3rd place. Two rails drop there for an 8-fault score and a 42.24 time in the short course for Carly Campbell-Cooper and Baratino PS. It'll go back to the U.S. now for the next opportunity to outpace Ben Meyer in Ginger Blue. Lillie Keenan will give it a go here with Chagrin Dior, one of her winners this season in Wellington already. Chagrin Dior, Lillie Keenan for Chansonet Farm LLC, number 547. Our younger mounts in the class here, 9 years of age. Did take a top finish in the young horse classes last year in Aachen, and again has already been performing well in the 3-star events in Wellington this season with a meter 50 classic victory just a few weeks back. U.S. rider and the number 29 on the Longines ranking list, Lillie Keenan, is up. That time, 38:29, and while she will be behind, she made up a lot of time on the second half of the course to move into second place there with My Clementine. So it's Great Britain, Ben Meyer on top. Nina Malave for France in second. Ireland with Shane Sweetnam in the third spot right now. Our podium positions held by the double clears up to this point as we have 4 more to go. 1 for Canada, 2 for the U.S., 1 for Australia in the final throws of this jump off. And here is Erin Ballard coming to us on Epsilon de Branil. For Canada, she took the top honors in yesterday's 5-star speed class, and now on a different mount trying to show to the top of the list in the jump off aboard this Andrew Lopez entry. Epsilon de Branil and Canada's Erin Ballard. Well, 37.82 comes very, very close there. Erin Ballard becomes the new runner-up on Epsilon de Brenil in 37.82. She was 0.37 seconds back at the split, but made up a little time as well on the back half of the course. Still not overtaking the lead there, with Ben Meyer still on top on Ginger Blue, but we've got a couple of U.S. riders next in the field here, including McLain Ward and Lara Kraut, and of course Hillary Scott, the rider for Australia, will round things out in this short course. Here's McLain on Lestro van de Valkenburg, number 220. He comes to us again, currently the world number 10. Well, the early circle followed by a couple of knockdowns later on there mean a total of 12 jumping and 13 time, 25 combined there for McLain and Lestro van de Valkenburg. Now it's Lara Kraut. Again, she qualified two, chose to only return on one of those. The later mount of the list, Très Bien Z. She'll be the last hope for the USA to finish on top. So here she is as one of our two remaining. Again, Lara Kraut. St. Bride's Farm entry. Lara Kraut again for the U.S. here. She'll set her sights on a 37.63 target time. And we're running out of rides who could topple Ben Meyer. And should he stay on top, it will be a true wire-to-wire win today. First to go clear, first to jump off, and he's remained first up to now. .37.35 at the finish line there. That would have had it if it hadn't been for the rail. Lara Kraut and Très Bien Z also quicker on the back half of the course, but they'll pull the rail at number 12 and drop down into 5th place in a very quick effort. One more to go. Australia's Hillary Scott here with Oaks Milky Way will be wrapping things up in this jump off. And again, Medmar's time on Ginger Blue came in at 37.63. That was 17 rounds back in the first jump-off ride. Since then, we've had several more clears join the fray. Erin Ballard, of course, currently second on Epsilon de Brenil. She's just one spot out of first place, where she was yesterday in the speed. Nina Malade for France in the third spot for the podiums there on My Clementine and her 38.29 time. And of course, we also had Shane Sweetnam penalty-free in the early phases with James Conn Cruz. Laura Kraut, Daniel Coyle, very quick for falters in the 5th and 6th positions up to now. And we do have our last entry in for the jump-off. Again, here is Hillary Scott and Oaks Milky Way to wrap it up. Going to finish up on a 4-fault penalty, the 3B knockdown, incurring the faults here for Hillary Scott and Oaks Milky Way in a 43.92 time, and they will rank 10th. And while we did have a lot of clears in round 1, only 4 navigated penalty-free in round 2 today, and no one able to catch up to Benmar in the first effort over the jump-off with Ginger Blue. Adding to a growing list of wins for the season here is that rider for Great Britain and the world number 3s. Up on the big board, as you can see, leading the way for those standings, we've got Erin Ballard and Nina Malade also preparing to join us for the podium spots. And down through the ranks, Shane Sweetnam, Laura Kraut, Daniel Coyle for Ireland and the USA. And through the list, we also have Tom Walkman with Do It Easy, Jacob Pope with Highway FBH, Kean O'Connor with Kentucky TN in that 9th position. Hillary Scott just finished on a 10th place score aboard Oaks Milky Way. Belgium's Nicolas Philipparts with Gadget Mouche in 11th. USA's Lillie Keenan with Chagrin de Moore rounding out the 12th position. And Brazil's Eduardo Pereira de Menezes and H5 Mesentis PS in 13th place. Top 3 rides coming up here in our Grand Prix qualifying event, brought to us once again by Ethel M. Chocolates, a division of Myers Incorporated, one of our great sponsors here at World Equestrian Center. And we'll have you coming back in for the awards. Stay with us for that presentation. Our founding partners again, Mars Equestrian, sponsoring events, and the sponsorship from Mars Incorporated is the link between our iconic brands and the equestrian community. For generations, Mars has celebrated a rich equestrian heritage, and through purposeful partnerships, Mars Equestrian is committed to the sport and building an enduring legacy. From world-class competition across all equestrian disciplines to stewarding the power of horses on society and sustainability, Mars Equestrian is dedicated to the purpose of improving the lives of horses, pets, and the people who love them. Check out their website, marsequestrian.com, and social media at Mars Equestrian. And again, a division of Mars Equestrian, thanks to Ethel M. Chocolates, supporting our 5-star Grand Prix Qualifier here on Thursday afternoon. What a great class we had, starting off with 59 entries in round one. The field was narrowed down to 18 total clears, and those riders came back to produce just 4 clear jump-offs, with Ben Meyer going uncatchable from the very beginning on Ginger Blue. And of course, that means he'll be leading the way back into the arena for the presentation of awards. And here come those top 3. Once again, Dr. Bridget McIntosh joining us on behalf of Mars Equestrian as we present our top contestants here. And we will have the winning rider coming front and center, as he is going to be here aboard Ginger Blue for the win. And of course, we'll carry the beautiful World Equestrian Center cooler brought to us by Lemieux. Jim Wolf of Wolf Sports Group also on hand here today, and they'll shake the hand of our winning rider representing Great Britain. And in honor of that victory, we'll ask all of you in attendance if you would please rise and remove cover for the playing of the national anthem of Great Britain. Top contestant once again out of our 59 starters there. It was Ben Meyer who led the way in round one. Ben Meyer who came through with the first penalty-free jump off. And again, from that point forward, no one was able to match that winning time of 37.63. So he's also earned his right to step into position for the victory photograph there just behind the Ethel M. Chocolates banner. And again, our representative of Andrew Ryback Photography will do the honors. While they're there, of course, wearing the Lemieux provided cooler that goes to all of our champions. Lemieux needs no introduction. One of the fastest growing brands in the European and U.S. markets. They feature an extensive range of saddle pads, rugs, boots, competition equipment, rider wear, and more. And there really is something for everyone available at the new Lemieux store here at World Equestrian Center and with leading equestrian retailers around the world. Ben has now led the way in the initial round and into the jump off. And one more time he'll be leading. That's in the victory lap to celebrate their win here in our 5-star qualifying events. Congratulations, Ben Meyer, once again with Ginger Blue. Victory Pass all wrapped up, and it's time for us to move along and get things ready for our Friday performance. We look forward to having all of you back, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate another great day, moving into day 3 of the week here in our FEI, our Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifying week, right in the middle of the 2026 World Equestrian Center Winter Spectacular Series. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.